Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the best in the business, Werner von Buren. Welcome to one of many new segments coming up on the Real Fake Talk Show, MMA Mondays. I am your host, X-Corporate. Find me on Twitch. My friends call me Steve. My mothers call me Steven, but let's get into it. We're going over UFC 272, which happened this weekend from Las Vegas, Nevada. From the early prelims right to the main event with Kobe and Jorge, we had an absolutely entertaining night of fights. We're going to break down the overview of everything that happened on the card, some of the commentary issues or debate that happened online, as well as the actual fights, and then what's next, and then we'll send you on your way. If you're liking the content, please like and subscribe. It's going to tell me if I should do more of this, how much more. But really, it's something algorithms. Thank you all for your support. Let's get into it. Right off the hop, we had the commentary change that was announced early in the night, or early in the week, actually, with DC's mother passing away. The Real Fake Talk Show and the whole MMA community, the whole world sends their thoughts to DC. He's such a lovable guy, and anytime you can see it affects someone like this so much, you can't help but just pour empathy out for him. So DC, our thoughts and prayers are with you. I don't like picking on people and be like, Michael Bisping was because that's like, these guys are doing a great job. But let's comment on what we saw. So first off, with the commentary change, Joe also coming back. He had a scheduling change on the last one. So Joe in, Bisping in, DC out. I thought it was a pretty good card. I thought Bisping dominated the microphone quite a bit. He's a talker, but after watching his podcast with Joe Rogan on Spotify there with cheap plug. You're welcome, Joe. You're welcome, Spotify. I'll be looking for my checks. After watching that, you do understand Michael Bisping knows what he's talking about. He's been in the game a very long time. He's given both real knees to it and his eyeball. That is, you're not even hearing that wrong. So what you have to say, what you don't have to say. It was fun to hear the banter between them. Joe was correcting him a few times, and Michael was sticking his ground. It was fun. I thought it was good, fun commentary. It didn't make the event better or worse, which I think is the ultimate testament to commentary. You can always make it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was. Let's give it a. I don't want to hate on it. That's all I have to say about that. Ludovic, No Camp Klein, starting out the show. I love this guy. This guy made a fan out of me. He comes in the post fight after beating a very, very willing Devontae Smith. He comes out and he's like, I don't like camp. You camp, then you get in your head. I don't like getting in my head. I like to fight with hands. Now, anytime. I stay in fight condition all time. Ready. Like, that's, you know what I mean? That'll win me any day of the week. Shout out to Ludovic, No Camp Klein. That's my nickname for him. I think it should stick. Then we had the Khabib show. He was losing his mind on that Tim Elliott fight versus Tagir. And oh man, he was grabbing his gloves, and Khabib was like, actually, when you watch the replays back, Khabib was actually yelling at Tagir, saying, grab his gloves then. Like, do something, don't just lose. So that was Khabib's first loss in the UFC, which was kind of tragic, but hilarious to watch in hindsight. He redeemed it immediately by coaching his cousin, Umar Nurmagomedov. Man, that featherweight division is looking tasty. It's looking tasty. Umar made quick work of Keller, and he, in his post-fight interview, I'd like to point this out, he calls for peace in Ukraine. I found this through some tweets on the internet. And then the translator comes out and says, I'd like to thank Russia, to which the crowd boos, and Umar looks shocked. So I'd like some people to double check that for us. Let us know in the comments what do you think was actually said, especially if you speak Russian. That'll help. Dagestanis. Shout out to all of you out there. I thought it was class either way. This guy just ran through it. Strictly MMA speaking, he ran through. It was like watching Khabib back in there. So I want to see this gentleman move up into the featherweight. The featherweight, as we'll get into, is looking stacked as ever after being held up, quote unquote, by Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski for forever. There are some real contenders waiting in the wings. So let's get into it. Also on the piece in the Ukraine, very emotional win for Marina Moroz of Ukraine, who got a performance bonus as well. Shout out to Dana White doing the right thing, and she earned it. That was a fantastic, sleek submission of her opponent. She sent out, obviously, and dedicating her win to her country, who is just the whole world is behind right now. So once again, very, very emotional post-match press conference, and a very, very well-earned fight for Marina Moroz. Damn. And right now we get into the next one. We had no, that's backwards. Yeah, now we'll get into the main fights, right? Do I have any other notes before we get into it for the pre-fights? Emotional. No, that's all we did have. We should have transitioned right when we meant to. Insert an inappropriate joke. Something. UFC 272, the main card kicked off with crowd favorite Greg Hardy, who eventually ended up with his third straight loss. Spoiler alert, to the absolutely terrifying Sergey Spivac, who has won 4 of his last 5 fights now on 3 finishes. This guy looks like a mauler, but then on the other hand, I gotta give it credit where credit is not due, and that is to Greg Hardy's 3rd straight loss. Getting sparked by a surging Tai Tuivasa is no detriment to you, right? You can't put that too hard against him, but he is on a 3-fight losing spree, and that was the last fight of his contract. It's interesting to see where the UFC takes this one. Personally, him having a long career in the NFL, now going into UFC, getting knocked out 3 times, or knocked out twice in a row, losing 3 times. You really have concerns about CTE, the long-term benefits of these fighters, the people around them, everything like that. So people and humanity first. I really do hope the best for Greg Hardy. Sergey Spivac, incredible performance. What else do you say? Get back into it for the for a couple of crowd favorites here. We had Kevin Holland versus Cowboy, an actual bull rider, Oliveira. And Kevin Holland actually recorded his first win since he went 5-0 in the UFC in 2020, famously won all 5 Fighter of the Year 2020. He hasn't won since, so it was good to see him get back in the win column. He actually dropped weight as well to get into 170. I really liked him at 170. I thought he has a really good length to him. He's going to feel very long in the division for a lot of people in a very stacked division. So once again, it's going to be interesting to see a lot of the rankings come out next week, and where all the changes lie, and with things like that. Alex Oliveira now with his 4th straight loss, crowd favorite. He is 22-12-1, no decision. Where do you guys want to see Alex Cowboy Oliveira go from here? You still got a lot of fight from him. Joe Rogan was making a lot of comments in the fight that he was looking a lot more disciplined. It looked like he's been working on a lot of things. It's not like losing to someone who's on a heavy incline is a detriment, but 4 losses in a row or 4 losses in a row. Hit me in the comments again. What do you think? What do you want to see for both of these guys? Kevin Holland coming into 170 now. Who do you want to see him take on next? He should probably ask for a bigger name now, but he was pretty cool asking for another Cowboy or their protege. So we'll see what's next for both of these gentlemen in the near future. Getting back to the main card, this guy, oh my God. I'm going to see if I can get him on the show. Not even kidding. I watched his Theo Vaughn podcast. Shout out Theo Vaughn. Shout out Bryce Mitchell. I have never become a fan of someone so quick in my life than Bryce Mitchell. This guy, Thug Nasty. Imagine, like, they're like, you're a rapper. And I'm like, I don't know as much about him as I thought I did. He's a rapper. He's a boy from Arkansas who wants to make a difference in the land that he was from. He says he doesn't want to forget where he comes from. He wants to go and help in the community. He wants to be a voice louder than himself, which I can empathize with. This guy hit all the buttons for me. And then, to top all that off, he goes and puts it on one of the greatest to ever do it in Edson Barboza. Holy crap, that was a mauling. No wonder he is affectionately known online as the Camo Khabib. Bryce Mitchell, take a bow, undefeated in the UFC. On the other side of the coin, Edson Barboza only winning 3 of his last 10 fights. Another question mark for another legend. What's going to be next for him? Like I said, could not be more of a bigger fan of Bryce Mitchell. I would like to try to talk to this gentleman. I love how after the fight, he's like, I want to give $45K, half of his fight purse. You heard that right, 45. So if he lost, only 45, but he won, so 45. He's going to give half of that to a local charity. However, Dana told him to pump the brakes. He said, you're a great kid. We're going to take care of that for you. He says he's still going to donate some of his money because that's just how he is and he needs to do this. It's how he wants to be. And Dana's like, we're going to do it. Don't worry. Get us in. So pretty cool to see all that all around for both sides there. But Bryce Mitchell, when he was asked in the post-fight pressure, who does he want? He's like, well, I don't want to jump myself in the lunch line, but I'd ask me a title shot. You asked me that, but I ain't jumping no lunch line. I ain't a good boy. It's like, you know what I'm saying? I just love this kid so much. Humble, confident, and just stunning blue eyes that we can stare into for days. Let's be real. Come on, that guy's everything. Edson Barboza, still a legend. You have not seen someone do that to him since, well, Khabib, who just sat him down and made his whole day hell. Speaking about sitting down and making your whole day hell. Yikes. Anybody who was watching this fight was uncomfortable. Renato, once again nicknamed by myself Rocky Moicano, has earned a lot of people's respect just by stepping in there on short notice. I don't think a lot of people remember he fought 3 weeks prior at 2-7-1 with a win, rear naked choke. However, he in the second round. However, he's fighting a very game and first time back since beating Paul Felder in 2020. Rafael Dos Anjos, and RDA was back to his championship looking ways. There were not a lot of holes in his game, and a lot of people disrespecting Renato Rocky Moicano in the beginning, but man, thinking this fight myself, I was screaming for them to stop it until Dominic Cruz tweeted out, shout out Dominic Cruz, also would love to have you on the stream, sir, about the fighter makes that decision, no one else. And I love that because us as commentators, as keyboard warriors, as people who watch and admire the sport, we know if you played any other sport, in that sport, no one can tell you what to do except for you. Which, once again, it does beg the overall question of fighter. Should the fighter have that decision for long-term health? I'm torn on this one. Once again, I'd ask for opinions in the comments on this one. What do you think? Do you think you just kind of, if he dies, he dies? Or is it, we need to know what we're doing for our fighter, because these guys are just warriors in their blood. They're never going to quit. Do you agree with Dom Cruz, one of the greatest to ever do it? Or do you just agree on something, maybe the personal health that's being talked about in the future here? Either way, what's next for both men? Renato, I hope his stock doesn't drop too much. He took the fight on short notice, showed that he has the heart of a lion. And RDA is some title shots in his future. Does he have to maybe get a couple more? I'd like to see him in a high contender match in the future here. He looked absolutely lethal in this. And speaking of lethal, we get to the main event. Kobe Chaos Covington versus Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Kobe taking the fight of, or both men taking the fight of the night honors in a 5-round grueling fest, which kind of went how a lot of people thought it would go, which Kobe just, they're both great fighters. Jorge's getting a lot of beef for this fight, but as they say in a famous quote in the game, there's levels to this game. And we really saw that today. And the wrestling meta, as they say in the gaming world, is really showing through and through right now. If you have a high level of wrestling, it is very tough to contend with. And Kobe's no joke on his feet. So Jorge's got a high level of stand-up. Kobe can deal with the stand-up, but you could tell everything about this match was about getting this bout to the ground. He was intent on taking him down and was taking him down at will, if I may. Jorge would like stuff the takedowns over and over, but it would take a lot out of him. And then you'd see Kobe just trying to get Jorge to wear him like a backpack. I was exhausted just watching it. A bunch of things there that stuck out for me were the body language before the fight. I'm a big body language before the fight kind of guy. And Jorge was smiling to the cameras, but then almost like the camera would go away, you'd see him like just slouch. And it would just be like, and then he'd like do like, it's almost like, it's like, you know, your kids are watching, so you do some fun stuff. But either way, I thought that once again, it's nothing to take anything away from Jorge Masvidal. Kobe Chaos Covington is one of the best in the business right now. However, he's living in the era of the pound for pound king Kamaru Usman, who showed both men over the last 2 fights that they've both taken them 4-0 to both those men, or 0-4 to both those men to Kamaru Usman. So it's tough, which really, once again, when we go back to asking what's next for both men, Jorge just signs a deal that makes him the 3rd highest paid in the UFC, which Francis Ngannou's got to be shitting himself, right? But if you're Jorge Masvidal, if you're Dana White, if you're Hunter Campbell, what are you doing? How are you booking next for Jorge? Are you going for these more high profile fights? Maybe put the BMF belt back on the line. Everyone loves that, right, Dana? Just kidding. We do. We love you. However, for Kobe, same question. What do we got next for Kobe? He's lost twice now to the champ. Does he move up? Does he move down? Does he go for a high profile fight? We saw him call out Dustin Poirier, who's would have to either move up or Kobe would have to move down. Poirier fought his last fight there, 170 or 155. I can't remember. Hit me up in the comments and let me know where you think that fight lands. I don't think it's a fun fight other than some more personal attacks and then another ground and pound that we'll see, another mauling that I don't know if Dustin can deal with, but I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. Hit me up in the comments. Once again, if you liked any of this, please like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell some single friends of yours. I'm single in my 30s. My mom's worried. Nice lady that we can, she calls it a rishta. We'll figure it out. If you're enjoying the content, if you want to be a guest on the show, reach out to me at therealfaketalkshow@gmail.com. That is Real Fake Talk on Twitter. The Real Fake Talk Show on Instagram. Find me. I'm everywhere. Ex-corporate on Twitch. I literally am everywhere. Stop it. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate everyone's time, and I hope you enjoyed this segment. We will see you soon with whatever the hell we're about to do. Let's go. And oh crap, no, we got some more shit. Come on. You see that? That's called a fake end. What's next? We got a few UFC fight nights coming up. We'll try to keep you in touch with them. Santos versus Ankalaev. The return of Marlon Moraes, Khalil Roundtree Jr., and Drew Dober. He's a handsome bugger. UFC Fight Night, Volkov versus Aspinall will follow that. We have Patty the Batty, crowd favorite Dan Hooker, and Paul Craig going to be fighting in that fight card. UFC Fight Night, Blades versus Daukaus, Kai Kara France, the ever-aging and always exciting Alexei Olenek, and the return of Jennifer Maia, leading us up to, of course, UFC 273, Aljo and Peter Yan. I don't care that that's not the headliner. Volkanovski, Korean Zombie, Aljo, Peter Yan. Am I right? Kids, I appreciate you being here. Take it away, Werner. Let's get out of here. Nailed it.